What's up, YouTube? Welcome
Hello.
to the MtG's podcast on the Old Cranky Man Collectibles channel. My name is Rugley. I'm here with Pinty Het. What is up,
Hi,
my dude?
it's me, and we're back at a regular interval.
My dude. Today we're going to talk about Nah, dude.
Nah, dude.
Nah, dude. Did you see
I,
that?
I,
That Gold Saber meme?
oh yeah,
The stickers? It's
yeah,
Nadu. It's Nadu. We're
the,
going to talk about Nadu.
the
Actually, we're going
little
to talk about
Shuko on his hand.
Yeah. We're going to talk about Modern Horizons 3 and its impact on
Yeah.
Canadian Highlander. But first, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notifications button so that we get to annoy you every time we upload a video. There's a link to our Patreon campaign down in the description. You want to learn more about
All
Modern
right.
Horizons 3 and Canadian Highlander. I got a bunch of deck lists posted up there. Still working on a couple more, too. So without further ado, Stefan, take it away.
Right. So, as everybody is aware, like once in a blue moon, and that'll be relevant. There is a high-powered, limited environment that's released into the wild. We've had one in 2019, one in 2021, and now one in 2024. Was it? Yeah, 19, 22, and 24. And these are the Modern Horizon sets. We sort of had a semi one with the Lord of
Yeah,
the
Lord of
Rings.
the Rings was basically a Modern Horizon set, right?
Yeah. Where the Wizards sort of boosts those power levels up higher than any other set that we're generally ever going to get. And so there are really two parts to cards that enter our format. There's two different kinds of cards that enter our format. One is a card that is individually powerful. Either it is undercosted and overstated, or it does something incredibly powerful on cast or unique on cast. These are cards like Flage. Flage is just an incredibly powerful card. Any of the 1 mana cards that we sort of completed a cycle on, right? We got Ragavan, that's red. We have the blue 1-drop mythic, Tamio. We have the white 1-drop mythic, that's the Ocelot Pride. We have the black 1-drop mythic, the Nethergoyf. And then the green 1-drop, what would you say that is?
I don't know.
Is it the Delighted Halfling still? It might be Grist. If we're counting the Flipwalkers, then it's Grist Voracious
I didn't
Larva,
even
but
realize
whatever.
that. I didn't realize that this was a cycle.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is intentionally, but they're all 1 mana cards that don't die to 1 damage. Like Orcish Bowmasters doesn't kill them.
Oh, okay. I
And
was
I
gonna
think that's
say
what,
I was gonna say Esper Sentinel certainly slots into this category
sure.
pretty easy, but I guess if you're what one twos or O3s for one.
Yeah, basically these are cards that don't die immediately to Renin 6 or Orcish Bowmasters. Anything that modern is hostile towards.
Sure,
It's the same reason that like Deathrite Shaman was a 1/2, right?
fair enough.
Because that format was hostile to X1s. Ocelot Pride is just a 1/1 with first strike and lifelink for 1. Why? It also has Ascend and it makes tokens. It just makes tons of tokens, and it does that by gaining life. And guess what? It has lifelink, so it's gonna gain you life.
Travis had that
Mhm.
in several games that we played against him, and the card is bananas.
It's incredible. And these are the kind of cards that I think are pretty obvious. These are the ones where it's like, if you're in these colors, you should be playing this card, right? There's
Potentially,
really,
yeah. It
I
does a
I
lot of it does enough different stuff that I would say it probably fits into multiple different archetypes. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like you can find a reason for it to be in this deck or that deck. It
Mhm.
is, yeah, and it is individually powerful enough to justify it in and of
Exactly.
itself. So also, I was thinking while you were talking about Ocelot Pride that the one green addition to this cycle is
Mhm.
Hex Drinker, even though it's a
Oh, right,
2/1,
yeah.
not a 1/2. That is
Yes.
definitely the card that slots in here. So, but we came here to talk about Nadu, so let's talk about
Yeah.
Nadu.
So Nadu is the overlapping of both undercosted, right? It has undercosted, overstated card, individually powerful, very cool. It is also a synergy piece and a combo piece all in one. This card is I think you said that it should have had the quotation marks 7 or the quote 7
Right.
words left.
We discussed the card quite a bit in Discord, and I kind of wonder if the card isn't just templated incorrectly, because literally to make the card different is just one simple punctuation change. You
Mhm.
move that quotation mark 7 words to the left. so that it triggers 2 times per turn, period.
Yeah, from Nadu. Like
So-
Nadu
right.
only allows it to happen
Right.
2 times.
2 times.
Now,
period.
obviously, there's ways around that. If you blink Nadu,
Sure.
you get those back again, but
So-
that requires additional investment.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if that wasn't the case. Like the wheel. So it's another card from Modern Horizons 3, and this one, the designers of the game have come out and said it is templated wrong. It does not work this way. Sorry.
Wheel of Potential. It says you get 3 energy, then you may pay X energy.
Right.
And then it says each player may exile their hand and draw X cards. If X is 7 or more, you may play cards you own exiled this way until the end of your next turn.
Right.
What is missing there?
It doesn't tie, in Resolution, it doesn't tie the determined amount of cards drawn to the actual amount of energy paid.
Yeah.
It simply uses the value for X. So when the card's resolving, it does not check to see how much energy you paid while the spell was resolving. It just says X, okay, draw X cards. So this is a 3 mana, draw your deck.
Yes.
If it resolved the way that it's worded on the card, but it is not. That card is worded incorrectly. So there's a prime example. It is very possible in my mind that Nadu is just simply templated wrong, and they did not intend for it to be that powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come to that conclusion, that's a definite possibility. You gotta play devil's advocate, or at least I play devil's advocate a little bit too, and that is to say that there are a bunch of different cards that do a very, very similar thing to this, that are not played outside of niche archetypes. Kira the Great Glass Spinner is one that comes immediately to my mind, and that was played in the Merfolk Typal deck as like a one of for a long time, and it does a very similar thing, but it is not the same. Nadu,
there's also
Nadu just kind of then there's several different cards that do that exact same thing. You know, your opponent targets your thing, you get to draw a card or something similar to that. Nadu just takes it to a step further, really, really pushes the envelope and just says, okay,
just whenever
it puts lands into play is basically like
that's
right. It puts lands into play, but now we have this problem of it also triggers on when you target your stuff.
Yes.
So now we have this problem of if you can get creative enough to find a way to target your stuff over and over and over again, it's 2 cards per creature.
Yeah, imagine if Leovold, Emissary of Trast, said whenever you are a permanent you control become the target of a spell or ability,
right,
you may draw a card.
Just drop off that part about it.
Just just you may draw a card. That card was already a real issue in Legacy for a little while.
It was, but sort of for a different reason.
Yeah, the preventing additional card draw on your opponent's side. Yeah,
it's like that card is also individually insanely powerful and definitely playable in Canadian Highlander, in my opinion. And it just doesn't do it quite the same way that Nadu does. So just kick it up another notch.
Yeah, it also Leovold also notably dies to lightning bolt. And Nadu. Sticks around, dude. 3/4 flying.
Dude. Yeah. So the Pro Tour happened last weekend, and there was 5 out of 8 Nadu decks in the top 8, and I think there is definitely potential for Nadu to have a similar effect on Canadian Highlander. I have seen a lot of different people, myself included, brewing with the card. It slots really easily into a lot of different strategies. So it is a card that puts lands onto the battlefield. So if you are a lands deck or you are a deck that cares about having landfall triggers, Nadu is probably something that could fit into your deck really, really easily because the package is just 2 cards.
Yeah, I mean that's the base package, right?
Right.
Yeah. If you have a card that fetches multiple types or puts multiple cards into your graveyard or hand, like a gifts or an intuition, like you're basically arranging your opponent's death.
Yeah, you can certainly go like all in on the combo too, and we are just trying to do Nadu things, and there's a lot of replacements for your Springheart Nantuko. You could go and play Scute Swarm. Does the same thing. You just need an engine to keep turning out creatures every time you make a landfall. So
those are everywhere.
There's a third option in Field of the Dead.
Yep.
I was talking to Ryan Brown, and there's even a 4th option as Felidar Retreat.
Oh yeah, exactly.
4 mana enchantment that makes 2/2s.
Totally fine, totally good card.
And
Like
I'm sure
and
that
it does other stuff.
yeah, it does do other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's also other things that will go off of this.
Yeah, there's probably a list of 2-3 dozen cards, but that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying like individually powerful, combo oriented. I think Nantuko is the perfect blend of those cards. Unfortunately, they sort of messed up on the design of it.
Really? I think the Nantuko is like, it's like I like that design a lot.
The Nadu, you like the Nadu?
No,
I sort of
then wait. I thought we were talking about the Nantuko.
No, I love the Nantuko.
I love the Nantuko. Getting a clone in green is bananas.
Yes.
Like, hey Luke, you don't even really need to play white in Seeker Walk anymore, bro.
Nope. You can just
clone a Eternal Witness every turn.
I think you will. Well, yeah. I mean, it's man, wow. The Nantuko was sort of the coolest of the original designs because it doesn't go in. So if nobody knows what we're talking about, Springheart Nantuko, it's a 1/1 for 2 that also just bestows for 2. Cheap bestow. And then the enchanted creature gets +1/+1. And then it has a landfall trigger that either makes a 1/1 bug, or if it's bestowed, you can pay 2 mana
to make
and copy the thing that's bestowed on. Or you can just make a bug. Like
right.
you're always getting the bug no matter what.
Yep.
So like the versatility of this card is really good. If you are in any kind of lands matter deck, I think the card is insane.
I mean, basically every deck has fetch lands in it, and I mean, it rewards you for taking a basic game action.
Oh yeah.
So
because like you don't actually have to pump any mana into it.
The potential for this card to just be an insane value engine outside of the Nadu combo is through the roof. Can you imagine with like an Amulet of Vigor in play, you cast a Primeval Titan, and then you go get and you bestow it with a thing, and then you attack and you go get your lands, and then with the landfall triggers, you untap your lands with the Amulet of Vigor and you clone the Primeval Titan in the middle of combat. Can you imagine doing that?
And then you get a new Primeval Titan, 2 more lands.
It goes
untap them,
yes.
Yeah.
It goes infinite.
You just empty your library of lands. In there, I'm sure there's a Field of the Dead. And
or probably a Valakut.
Yeah, you know what? Fine. Okay. That's all if you want to win the game immediately.
We only need red cards and green cards. We don't need anything else.
That's true. But like, yeah, so there's another card that sort of like blends the synergy with a power level. You don't have to do busted things with it, but you can.
No. I think going infinite with Primeval Titan is pretty busted, but no, you don't.
I think Primeval Titan is the busted card
I think just copying like I saw someone in the top 8 just start making copies of Wall of Roots, and that mana advantage is insane. That card just pays for itself. You have to pay. You have to pay. Have a land drop and pay 2 mana to make the clone, and then the Wall of Roots comes in, and it can make a mana on your turn, and then it can make a mana on your opponent's turn. So it pays for itself.
I really like that. I think it's also important to say in a format that is singleton, every card is indispensable.
Yeah.
Like if you're building your deck right, every card is indispensable, and having a second, third, fourth, fifth copy of those cards
100%
generally is going to push your game plan.
Yeah.
This card is I'm not MTG finance, but
isn't it like only $6 or something?
It's $5. Yeah, just go pick up a copy. Get a fancy one.
Probably pretty worth it.
The next big one that we want to talk about, and one that's sort of like not MTG finance, but oof, boy, it got up there. Flage Titan of Fury's Fire's Fury.
Fire's Fury, yeah.
So what is Flage?
It's a Titan. It's a Theros Titan. It's a 3 mana 6/6. You have to sack it unless it escapes, and when it enters, you get a Lightning Helix.
Yep, and it escapes for the typical cost.
Yep. White, red.
And escapes and attacks. So if you can give it haste when you escape it,
that's how those decks were. Like the Boros Energy deck, it has the Arena of Glory, so that it could just give it haste.
Yeah,
which is
12-point life swing.
That's insane.
Oh no! 18-point life swing. That's because you get to hit them for 6 too.
You're talking like that's like Comet level absurd.
Yeah, you just won the game.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to complain. Like if you've ever played with a Titan, if you've played with Uro or Croxa, you know how powerful these cards are.
Yeah,
they're game enders. They're inevitability engines. If you're in it, if you can make double red, make double white, if you can get 5 other cards into your graveyard, you should probably be playing with this card.
Yeah, 100%. Card is very, very, very powerful.
Yeah.
So the mono red decks, in Canadian
Mhm.
Highlander are, you know, I mean, it's a play style, that's for sure. But a little white splash in your mono red deck is going to give you a whole lot of reach for splashing Flage, and plus, like, a Boros Charm is way better than Flame Rift.
Yeah, agreed. Mardu, I think, absolutely plays it. Naya
100%.
plays it. Jeskai's going to get tons of value.
Yeah, it's probably best in Jeskai. Jeskai fills up its graveyard really, really easily, but I think any red-white adjacent deck wants a Flage probably. So in Jeskai specifically, I think it's a really, really good win condition because the ability to just get it, to use it for value early on, and then to be able to get it back later on whenever it's convenient for you, and the promise of being able to get it back over and over and over again is just, it's like exactly what you need out of a win condition in Jeskai.
Yeah, in control, you just want one big threat. And this is the one big threat. You could also, like, it feels pretty good to mill one with the Surveil lands.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, cool, excellent. Here's my inevitability. I didn't want, like, I'm cool not drawing this. I'll just draw the next card. It's a counterspell.
You had mentioned Psychic Frog.
Yeah, Psychic Frog doesn't go in every deck. I think if you're in a blue-black deck that wants to fill its graveyard up, that can recur, like has a level of recursion. I think Sultai there's a deck with Sultai where you run Psychic Frog and Psychotog, and you just kill your opponent out of nowhere. Like, they're basically berserk creatures. On top of that, there's entirely new decks.
Yeah, I think so.
That we are getting full suites of cards that really synergize well together. If you didn't see Wrath of the Skies get played at the Pro Tour, this card is bonkers because it is effectively a 2-mana Wrath. If you have a way to generate energy, it is just a 2-mana Wrath.
Yep.
And I think White has wanted something like that for control for a long time.
It's a 2-mana Pernicious Deed, actually.
Yes. Yeah, it pops creatures, artifacts, and enchantments.
Yep, it's a Pernicious Deed.
Yeah, it's bonkers. It's also mana value, so you can play it for 0 energy and pop all of your opponent's
Moxen and tokens,
construct tokens,
100%.
And you can just put a bunch of mana into the X and just gain all that energy and store it for later.
Yep.
It's totally powerful. We're in a format without sideboards, so you're not going to really see energy hate. You're not
a Sun Cleanser.
Don't worry about it. Or what is that? What's that enchantment that, like, solemnity? You're not going to see a solemnity outside of like a combo.
I have had a solemnity cast against me in Canadian Highlander once.
Same. I've had it cast against me once, and then my opponent also played their own Urza Saga and went, "Oh wait,
oh no! Rest in peace to the Urza Saga."
It never did anything.
Yeah. Obviously you're talking about the energy deck, right? There's tons of cards. There were already a bunch of very, very good cards that make energy. And now they've kind of superpowered them, right? You had Harness Lightning before. Now you've got what is it called? Galvanic Discharge. Which it's a 1-mana Harness Lightning that can target planeswalkers.
Yeah, and it's basically a lightning bolt. Like its floor is a lightning bolt that can't target players.
Yeah.
That's bonkers.
Yeah. And then there's a cantrip now.
Yeah, the blue one that gains you 2 energy up for 1 mana.
I don't know if I've brought this up on the podcast yet. Stefan, look this card's name up for me real quick because I don't know what it is. It's the face commander of the Jeskai Energy Modern Horizons 3 commander deck. I can't remember what the name of its card is. So let me describe it for you. It's what is it called?
I'm pulling it up right now.
It costs 1+ Jeskai, so 4 mana.
Satya Aetherflux Genius.
This card right here. So it's a 4 mana 3/5 with haste and menace.
Already good.
When it attacks, you make a copy of a creature you control tapped and attacking.
Just without question.
Without question. You just could, it's, 4 mana, attacks with 3 power and menace, makes a copy of another creature you control that's tapped and attacking. And then at the end of the turn, you can pay energy to keep that creature around, or it gets sacrificed.
Yep.
So this is a format where the most powerful creatures are like White Plume Adventurer, Seasoned Dungeoneer, Caves of Chaos Adventurer, creatures like this.
Fury.
Creatures like this that you could potentially curve a White Plume Adventurer into this guy.
Yeah.
And you just get to like speed run the dungeon while you're attacking your opponent.
Oh yeah. Gross. You also don't have to pay the energy. You can let it die. And
right, you can let it die.
The energy. Yep. And that's fine to do.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if you're playing other cards that are looking to spend it. So, as far as like older energy cards that I think that are playable, I already mentioned Harness Lightning. I think that card is playable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if cards like Rogue Refiner or what is the other one? Whirler Virtuoso. I don't know if they're good enough. Those cards are very, very good in that format, like where they were very, very good. Yeah. But I don't know if they're good enough to see play in Canadian Highlander. Probably worth trying out, but Attune with Ether, I think, is another one that gives you enough value that you could definitely justify playing it, especially if this is a what are we talking? A 4-color deck, right?
Yeah, it's 4-color, no black, I think.
So Attune with Ether, you want to be able to go find those basics to fix your mana. You want 2 energy, definitely playable. I think that Servant of the Conduit is probably playable in an energy deck. It's a mana dork that makes energy when it comes into play and can fix your mana. So
there's the land, the Aether Flux,
Aether
whatever.
Hub.
Aether Hub.
Yeah, Aether Hub.
But like again, like this is one of several energy decks that could be played. Mm-hmm. You can have different payloads. I don't know if you're familiar with Electrostatic Pummeler.
Yeah, 100%. Like you would definitely want to play that card in this deck, I think.
Yeah. I think that couldn't go just into an energy deck and then it can be a win condition or it can be an energy gainer. I think it's totally fine.
Bristling Hydra is another one. That card may not seem like it's bananas on the surface, but it's a 4-mana 3/3 when it comes into play, or 4/3 when it comes into play. When it comes into play, you make 3 energy, and then you can pay 3 energy to give it hexproof.
Yeah, and put a counter on it.
And put a counter on it. So the ability for that creature to grow and protect itself at the same time, I think, is very, very good. And if you get that card towards the end of the game, which it's a 4-drop, so that's when you're going to be casting it, you potentially have a lot of energy built up that you can just keep this card around for a very long time.
Yeah, that's the best part about energy decks is they're either self-synergizing or they synergize with other energy cards, and the more you have in a deck, the better they're going to get.
Yeah, they're like the Rube Goldberg machine of Magic.
Yeah.
There's also like 2 new energy commander decks, and I'm going to be honest with you, I have not really looked at either one of them. I'm sure there are a bunch of playable cards in there. You want to talk about Eldrazi?
Yeah.
You want to talk about Eldrazi? Okay, so Red Green Eldrazi is sweet. I haven't tried any other versions of it yet, but there are a lot of insanely powerful Eldrazi, and when you combine those with all of the fast mana that's available in red and green, I've been playing the deck. I think I've played about a dozen games with it so far, and I am routinely spending 6 and 7 mana on turn 3.
Yeah, I mean it feels a lot. You're a classic modern Tron player.
Yeah, I love Tron. I've been trying to make it work in Canadian Highlander for a long time, and I finally feel like I did it.
Yeah. Well, there's that new land in the Commander set that enables Tron lands to turn on.
Yeah, Planar Nexus is in there. Yeah, because it counts as all of them. So that card plus Urza's Tower is 4 mana.
Yeah, and it's again, it's one of those cards that doesn't go in every deck. Obviously, you're not going to just slam it in every deck, but if you have a Cloud Post deck, if you have Tron lands, which are now suddenly playable.
Yeah, it also counts like as a sphere. It counts as a layer. It counts as a desert.
A gate.
It's all of those things. So the points that I've been playing right now are Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Crypt, and Ancient Tomb.
Sure.
And it's just like we want that colorless mana, and we want it fast.
And
So,
yeah, there's no downside, right?
I had one game where I don't remember what the hand was. There's a picture of it in the Discord, but I played a turn one Forbidden Monument, the 5 mana Eldrazi artifact.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I can't.
Not Eldrazi Monument, right?
No, the 5 mana one, Forbidden something.
Oh, okay. Forsaken Monument.
Forsaken Monument, that's what I called. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Cast a Forsaken Monument on turn one. Turn two, I cast a World Breaker.
World Breaker, yeah. Yeah, the game is basically over.
That was one of the most absurd games I've had.
Again, if you want to hear more about this, or if you want to see the deck list, join the Patreon. Blake has put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
Or come to F&M, have him beat you up with it.
I want to talk about. So I want to talk about Necro Dominance. This is I think probably the second card that really took the Pro Tour by storm, quite literally. So Necro Dominance is a callback to Necropotence.
Sure.
Triple black at the beginning of your end step, you can pay any amount of life and then draw that many cards. And then if a card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, it's put in exile instead.
Yep.
So the pros built this deck where it's basically like, plan A is to grief you twice on turn one, right? That was already a thing that people were doing in Modern. This isn't anything new. That's like plan A. And then, step one. And then step two is to, play a Necrodominance and then draw 1 billion cards. And then you have all of these free cards like Soul Spike and like March of Wretched Sorrow, where not only are these going to answer your opponent's permanents or deal them damage, they're also going to gain you a bunch of life so that you can draw more cards. Yeah, Necrodominance really kind of took the Pro Tour by storm. I think maybe when you combine the fact that now you get to 2 different options for Necropotence, so you have a little bit of redundancy there. The fact that Yawgmoth's Will came off of the points list recently makes this whole idea of like blue-black storm / doomsday kind of like blue-black combo pile. It makes it sound a lot more appealing.
You just get to do cool stuff, which is like sort of if there was a thing about the format that I was going to tell people, you get to do cool stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's like the most exciting thing about this set is like it's creating these new like archetypes and these new macro archetypes that like something that I have not seen a set do in a long time for Canadian Highlander. So, I mean, good job.
Well done, Wizards. You did great. Not Nadu, but you did great with everything else.
Were there any other cards you wanted to talk about, or did we get them all?
I think we got them all. I think that these are the sort of the highlights of what excited me about the set. I think that it's a good time to brew.
Hell yeah.
Make something new, change out 10, 15 cards from a deck that you're playing now, or brew something entirely different that you're not comfortable with. And then, we're going to talk about some more specific decks, I think, at a later time that I think got some real powerful upgrades from this.
I'm really excited to see the shakeup that this is going to cause at the Lawnlander, which is July 27th at Game Castle in Agony Lawnlander qualifiers. So the time this podcast comes out, that will just be a little under 3 weeks away. So
get those deck lists ready.
We are winding down the clock. All right. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn those notifications on so that we get to annoy you every time we upload a video. With that out of the way, we just want to remind you that
we're proud of you.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.